Alrighty. So today I had this realization, and then I started reading this book, and I think it was perfect because I wasn't ready to read this book when I have the Kindle app, and when I first downloaded this book, I did not read it. Like, I wasn't drawn to the book, but today I was just randomly like just drawn to like something about that book I was just drawn to, and as I was reading it, I was like, I wasn't at the place vibrationally to read this book the other time when I downloaded it. But like, I downloaded it for a reason, but I wasn't at a space to really comprehend what the book was talking about. And it is already, I think I'm on chapter 3, and it already just like hyped me. And as y'all know, I'm still reading that other book. I like to read a book at work sometimes. If I have like the downtime to read a book at work, then I'll read a book at work because it's like on my phone. I don't have to the physical copy of the book. And then when I get home, I like to read a physical book, so that way I'm not like on my phone, because even if I read the book like on my phone or on my iPad or something like that, it still would kind of tempt me to like start scrolling on YouTube, or just trying to distract myself with something. So I try to just keep it with physical things when I get in the house, and then like leave the electronics to like, okay, yeah, if I'm at work, then I'll do that, because I'm like, I'm outside or whatever. I'm trying to, you know, but when I get in like the house and I'm like winding down and I'm like, having my alone time and just really, upping my spirits back up and just tapping into the world and stuff like that, I try to make sure that I'm like really not on my phone. So I like put my phone in another room and just let that be, and then start reading a physical book, because it just makes me feel better. But I know I probably talk about this, but authenticity is so crazy. And I have been realizing, I've naturally been realizing this. I've realized this before, that like I don't be authentic to myself. And that's why I said like this whole lesson with like having to physically take care of myself, because my health was kind of doing some crazy things, and I hurt my foot, and it was just like, I physically have to start taking care of myself. It made me like learn, that self-love, and that like everything is within you and you don't have to go outside of you for anything, and helping to like uplift my spirits. But this whole idea, and I go back and forth with this, with like, I naturally want to, like, when I see certain people, like I'll say like Janae Eco, like her energy just naturally, like something about that is just like, that's the energy that I feel like I am. Like, I'm that type of, and like even like watching, spiritual people on YouTube, the people who are just like calm and relaxed, I've always been like drawn to those energies, especially those feminine energies of just like being just like calm and just like relaxed. And I remember I was watching this podcast, and I hope I can find it one day. I forgot his name, but he's like a motivational speaker. He's like really buff guy, like some dude. I forgot his name, but he's like one of those like that's well known. And he had a guy on there, and he was just like embracing, like the guy was just so like calm and relaxed. Like, everything about him, his voice was just calm. He was just calm. And even the guy who was doing the interview with him, he was just like, you're just providing me, and like I'm in my masculine, and I've saying I'm a masculine man or whatever. He was like, but just like you in this space, like just the energy of you, like you are really like tapping into like what it means to like truly be authentic. Because it's just like he was just existing, he was just like talking his stuff, and just it like literally it was just making you calm. Like, it was just making you calm, it was just making you relax. Like, I was just like, that is what I like, that is me, like that is who I am. And I was just thinking, naturally as a kid and just growing up, I was naturally the more quiet, reserved, like just kind of just like always kind of just like going with the flow. I didn't really like doing too much as far as like spazzing out, but I would get triggered by things, and it would make me like kind of like like switch. I'd be like, okay, but the world has a way of kind of like, I want to stop saying I keep trying to like stop saying it has a way of just, when it sees that you're meek, it's like we're gonna pick with that. And so I grew up thinking that meekness, and especially where I'm from, like growing up thinking that meekness was something that was wrong. Like if you're meek, you're scary. And I would hate to be called like, like scary, or like you're so timid and you're a crybaby and stuff like that, that I had to like get out of the way that I was and like put on this new persona of like, no, I have to be this tough person. Like I have to be this person who just like spazzes all the time. So it created in me at a one point in time, like people will always call me mean, and it would feed my ego. But I kid you not, my spirit would be so disappointed. Like my spirit would feel so just disheartened, and I really would hate that people would call me mean. Like I would hate that so much. Like I'd be like, no, I'm not mean. So when people would get to know me, like, oh, you actually really care. Like you're a really caring and loving person. And I was just like, yeah, that's me. Like, yep, that's me. Because that was truly who I was. But my ego would feed off of people calling me mean. Like, yeah, I'm mean, so don't play with me. Yeah, I'm mean. But I would always be like, don't call me mean. Like, I'm not really mean. But it was just like my ego was feeding off that. Like, yeah, I'm mean, so that mean I ain't want to play with. But it was just like deep down inside, I was like, I don't want to be mean. But when I'm not being mean, and just naturally, I just look more, just like, for one, I look younger than what I am. People sometimes still think that I could go for like my late teens, early 20s. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no. But I'm like, honestly, truly, I really would like just want to exist like me. But people would see that and be like, how can we pick with you? Because you seem like, and it wasn't until like, I stood my ground and people are like, oh, okay. And it's like, yeah, like, don't play with me. But at the same time, why do I have to do all of that? Why I have to be like that? So instead of just like, standing my ground, I just chose to like take on the way of like, I'm always looking mean. So I naturally just always had like a mug on my face. And then it would be like, people would like see me and be like, you always mugging. So people always thought I was mean. I would get that. My first impression was that I'm mean, that I have an attitude problem. I would get that all the time. And once again, my ego would feed off that. And I remember I was working this one job, and that job like really like irritated the mess out of me, because like everybody would just be like, you're so mean, like she's so mean. And nobody like really approached me to talk to me or anything like that, but everybody was just like, she mean, she has an attitude problem, stay away from her. Like, and everybody like just distance themselves from day one. Like everybody just kind of like, and so even like when it came to like my manager, they just like, and I'm like, my customers are happy. Like my customers, they're like, she is like a great person. Like we just love her. Like she's just so nice and so kind. And all of the customers, they liking me. But everybody's saying I'm mean and I have an attitude problem and I need to work on that, and I da da da. And I'm like, I'm not mean though. Like none of these people are actually coming to get to know me. Everybody's just saying I'm mean because my face when I walk away from my customers is just a regular face. And it was just because when I walk into a space, I feel the energy of the space. And the energy of the space, I was just mirroring back to what it was when I entered the space. Like I entered the space and the space was not welcoming. It was not a welcoming, happy-go-lucky place. So I didn't wear happy-go-lucky on my face because for once, that's a defense mechanism. Like, I'm not finna show you that I'm just happy and proud and just la, 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 la. And then you look at that and you take that as some type of weakness. And I remember watching a documentary about like, how that changed the dynamic when people were selling drugs, and like it changed the dynamic of like they couldn't smile no more because the person who, was like basically their rival, their op or whatever, would be like, oh, okay, this dude, he up in a party and he laughing and he playing, he dancing, like he having fun. Like they saw that as like, that's a weakness. Like, you ain't really like, I could rob you, I could kill you, like I can take your drugs and stuff like that. And so it became, and I resonated with that so much because I was like, that's exactly how I've had to live, because I grew up in, a tough area, and I always had to like prove all the time that like I was tough. And I was just like, I'm tired of having to prove that I'm tough. Like, why do I gotta prove I'm tough? Like, I'm tough. I've been through a lot. I'm tough. Trust me, I'm tough. I'm tough. But it was just like having to always prove that, like, don't mess with me. And I was just tired of that, because I'm like, that doesn't naturally feel like, I was more so operating in a masculine space. I was always operating in a space of like competition, and just like always, it created more like jealousy and envy, and it created me to be just like jealous of just like women who could just, I feel like they could just exist as them, but I couldn't just exist as me. Like, and I feel like society wanted more women who were more like they catered to the women who were more like aggressive and just like, I'm more like this. And then the women who were like, that, like, you seen as like the housewife, like, oh, you want to be the boys don't pick the girl, like, those are the ones that, the ones that are more outspoken, and I do this and I do that, and I'm like this, and I'm like I don't want to go to the club and be loud. The club is already loud. I don't want to be here and be loud. I want to sit here and people watching. We're gonna be in here. I'm just chilling. I'm like just vibing. Like, I'm just chilling. I'm just chill. Like, I'm just chilling. I don't want to overthink nothing. I'm just chilling, bro. Like, I'm seriously just chilling. And I was just like, why can't I just exist like that? Why can't I just flow like that? And as I started seeing more women, as spirituality started making its way to me, and more like spiritual people started making their way, like, to my reality, I started realizing, like, when I would see somebody who was spiritual and who was just like existing in just like a flow, like, yeah, and what they would call like the ditzy girls, and like the blondes, like stuff like that. And I remember I had a manager tell me that at one of my jobs. She's like, you're just so ditzy, like, you're just so like, and she also called me Erica Badu before I got to this stage. And I was just like, you trying to say I'm dumb? And it was just like, no. And like, I got called meek, and I was like, so I was like, I like how meek you are. And I was like, you trying to say I'm weak? You trying to say that I'm not? And I was just like, but when I go in spaces, sometimes I just exist. Like, I'm just like, I'm not trying to be anything. And if I get comfortable enough with you, I don't have to try to show you that I'm tough. And especially being from where I'm from, like, and then going to somewhere else that people just saw this persona of it, like being from Chicago and then like coming, to the South or whatever. It was just kind of like a different vibe. They're like, oh, so y'all like this, so y'all. And I was like, they're like, you not from Chicago because you don't act like that. And I'm like, how am I supposed to act? Like, because I'm not sitting here trying to put on this persona anymore. I finally felt free. Like, I ain't gotta be like that. Like, I could finally smile. I could finally just be happy. And it was just like, people expected me to be like mean and overly aggressive and things like that. And I'm like, that's just not my persona. That's not my vibe. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to talk in such an aggressive tone. I want to just be able to just be like this and just be calm and cool and relaxed. And if I need to show you, don't play with me, then I'll show you that. But at the end of the day, like, I'm like, a lot of stuff like that now that I'm at this space, it don't come into my reality. It does not like show itself. And it just made me realize that, like, even with being on social media and why I hate social media so much, it's just like, it's because I once again feel like I have to put on this persona of like, you seeing so many people going out partying and going out doing all of these things, and I'm just like, I just want to chill and read a book. And it's like that feeling of needing to be accepted, because for so long, like, I was unaccepted in so many different places. And it's just like, people do still gravitate towards me, and people still, want to know more about these things that I talk about, and just like me being me, and when I'm living in my like authenticity. But at the same time, that ego will play a part and be like, no, you have to fit in. Remember that time when you weren't fitting in? Remember that time when you were just being, when you were just existing, and then they talked about you, and then they picked on you, and then they were like, no, you're like this, and you're weak, and you, and it was just like, when I get on social media, I don't want to have to be like this. And I was just, and what my brain was trying to do was trying to tell me that like this version of myself, the real, just like, I'm chill, I'm laid back, and I just want to be like that appeals to me, that makes me feel good. It was telling me that that version of myself was the an unauthentic version. Like, it was telling me that that was the fake me. And so I was doing all of this, and so when I had to come back to being like calm and stop worrying, because like it was literally stressing my body out, and then I had to like take care of myself and nourish myself, so I had to be softer and more, aware of everything. I was like, yeah, that's me. That's truly me. Like, that this is who I am. I'm just a calm person, and I choose to be calm, and I choose to be relaxed, and it's just been helping me to truly embrace that I'm a more meek person, and that's just who I am. Like, I just choose to be that way. That doesn't mean that you're weak or anything in that space. It's just like you're just a different, like, you're just this type of person, and there are other people who are more outgoing. If you're a more introverted person, then that's just who you are. Like, and I was just like, I just want to be on social media. And that's what scared me so much about being on social media, was because like I just felt this like need to, like, anytime that like the me came out, I'll be like, let me delete that, or that's not right. Let me go back to something, like, let me just, I don't know. But now I'm starting to really like embrace, and it's just like reading that book and just having this feeling today of just like calmness and peace and relaxation. I was just like, I like when I'm in my house and I'm playing soft and subtle music, and I'm just like chilling and vibing, and I'm like talking with just like a calm voice, and it's not like overly loud, or just, it's just like mellow, and I'm just like mellow, and I feel just relaxed. Like, that makes me feel good. That makes me feel happy. And that also embraces my sensuality. That also embraces my femininity, and it makes me feel the most like me. It makes me feel the most connected to everything and nothing at the same time. It makes me just feel like a being. It literally just makes me feel like a being, and it makes me feel like I don't have to do anything to get the word, like, to fit into no boxes. It's just like, I'm just here being, and that's all we're supposed to come here to do. Like, we're just supposed to be. We don't need to do, we just need to be. So yeah, that's another, this is another video. I don't really know what this video is about, honestly. This is a vent video. We just venting, we just having a conversation. So have a conversation with me in the comments. Let's just talk about just like, how is your personality, and like how y'all show up in the world, and like, what is it true, is it authentic, like, are y'all working on your authenticity, like, what's going on? Like, let's just have a conversation, because yeah, that's just how I'm feeling. And the more I'm getting into like shedding off the layer of like I have to show up a certain way, getting on social media, like, literally something overcame me today when I was like realizing that like you're showing up on social media how you feel like you should show up on social media. But how do you truly want to show up on social media? How do you truly want to show up in the world? Like, you just want to be, you want to be able to be you. And that is like, you are this spiritual person. Like, we all are spiritual. You're the spiritual being who wants to provide calmness and just wants to be. You show that in this way. So allow yourself to truly be that without feeling like you have to be hipped on the new music that's out there that does not align with who you truly are. And you have to be hipped on the new sayings and the new words and keep up with the lingo, and make sure that you're not, out here being oh darn, I don't know anything, I don't know what, like, you don't have to do that. You are existing in your own space, in your own light, being loved and being connected to everything, the cosmos, the people, all the energy of the world, all of the elements of the world, and you're being, and you're allowing yourself to be that. That is the authentic version of yourself. So learn to step into your authenticity without feeling like you're going to be judged, or people are going to, because at the end of the day, they shouldn't have no time to judge you, because what they doing? What you got going on? Why you got so much free time to judge me? Go work on yourself. So yeah, now I'm just learning how to like not care. And once I was thinking about that, I was like, all the people like came over me, like who I try to like show up for on social media, and I was like, yeah, we finna stop that. So when I get back on social media, I was like, yeah, we ain't finna be on there showing y'all what y'all will want to see. No, if I don't drink, I don't have to be ashamed that I don't drink, because that's just not how I choose to show up in the world. If that's how you choose to show up in your world, then that's how you choose to show up in your world. But that's not how I choose to show up in my world. I choose to show up in my world. If I want to show a quote of a esoteric book, if I want to show a quote on a spiritual book and do all of these things, I should be able to do that without judgment. But my ego be like, they don't want to hear that. They don't care about that. Go show them something that they want to care about. They don't want to see your cats. They don't want to see none of the aesthetically pleasing stuff that you like to show. And I like aesthetics. I like showing, if I paint, if I draw, if I just read a book, if I have just like my candles lit, and if I have my incense lit, and it shows something nice, like it creates a nice smoke thing, and I'm listening to music, like that's really how I be living life naturally, and that naturally feels good to me. So I don't just do it for just a show on social media, but I try to like overcompensate for that, or just like having to show up and just like still be like, oh yeah, but I'm still like this, so don't take this kindness for weakness. And it's like, I'm done being that version of myself. I'm done feeding my ego. I'm done just like not living in a space that feels the most loving and light filled and calm and connected. You know, like I'm here to be a being and to experience every emotion, but not to the point where it becomes detrimental to the spiritual side of me, because I came here to ascend the spirit. So, you know, yeah, this is just a message about authenticity and just embracing that and learning what is truly you, because it can also be the flip side that like you're a more outgoing person and you try to be more of the, you know, quiet and nonchalant, and it's like your soul be like, that's not who I am. Like I'm more like and I'm more passionate, like overly passionate about things, and just like super headstrong. Like if that's your energy, embrace that side too, and don't just think because, you know, the spiritual side is like, oh, so like, I'm just like quiet and I'm stuff like that. Like we are the different versions of God. So like, you know, we're all of it. So if that's how your soul is, if you're more like outgoing and more, you know, strong spoken, I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah, if you're more that, then be that. That's completely fine. Like be that. Sure. That's you, then be that. But also it's knowing like, don't feed your ego constantly, because your ego is like playing tricks on you. It's trying to tell you some stuff that it ain't really true. But yeah, so that is the end of this long video that didn't even need to be this long, but I'm sorry. I hope y'all had this conversation. I hope this helped with something. I don't know where this conversation was going, but I guess I just wanted to talk to y'all today. So I hope y'all have a good day, and I hope y'all continue to have a good day. And it's like, you know, July 4th, so we go celebrate the July 4th. So yeah, y'all be great, continue to be love and light, and live authentically today. If you don't do anything else today, just live authentically. So yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.